All right, good evening, everybody. I know I'm kind of tickling the edge of my start times, but I'm doing my best to sort of narrow those down. For those of you who are wondering where I was on Monday, it was a holiday in my province, although I think that's a holiday for all the provinces now. But it's one of the few times that I've actually known in advance that there was a day off, basically, and I wanted to try and take it. I actually really appreciated the ability to take some time off, so that was good. But of course, that does mean that I wasn't able to broadcast. Well, I was able to broadcast, but I was not in a position to broadcast. And I know as much as I want to try and communicate that stuff, it is always hit or miss as to whether or not that comes across. So if that was news to you, I apologize, and I will try and be a little more on top of things with kind of announcing days off. Now, before I start Industries of Titan, there's actually an update. There was an update on the 2nd of August on the Brace Yourself Games website, so I wanted to take a second and cover that. And then I also wanted to take a second and I don't know, like we'll do the usual introduction and all of that. But there is another announcement that's coming up from Brace Yourself Games, which will probably not be related to Industries of Titan. Well, no, actually, we know it's not related to Industries of Titan. It'll be Crypto the Necrodancer, but I figured we can sort of talk about that too, because while I don't play Crypto the Necrodancer on stream, no dislike for it, just I've got a lot of stuff to go through, so maybe we'll do that at some point in the future. But yeah, I figure, I like Brace Yourself as a company. I like the stuff that they do, and big announcements are always exciting. So we will cover all of that. But first things first, let's do the Industries of Titan announcement / preview. So this is from the 2nd. You'll actually also notice here I have the careers site open. So the game design positions, if they are not filled, they're at the very least at this point where they don't want to be doing job openings. But I will note that the senior video producer is still open here. And I don't know, like I realize that there's something of a limited audience, and sometimes the biggest thing that I would hope is that, when I'm encouraging people to do this sort of stuff, that people are following through because they think it's a good fit. Obviously a senior title I'm going to assume probably has some degree of experience that's assumed. But on the other hand, I think the tendency, and this is definitely true for me on the things in which I personally consider myself to be an expert, and again, you don't want to go too far down your realm of knowledge, but there are some things that I can claim to have a sort of unique specialization on, but I definitely know the tendency for myself is to assume that everybody else is far more qualified, and I shouldn't even try. And having had some very encouraging sort of career news, nothing to like announce, but there has been a little bit of positive movement on something that I sort of thought had died out. It's one of those times where I want to take a minute and just say, if you think that something in here is a good fit, you should check it out and apply, particularly because if Brace Yourself continues to attract the brightest and best to their company, then that just means that there are more games and better trailers and lots of goodies for me to share with you in the long run. But moving back on, we've got the Titan update. So this is Rivals 2.0, 2nd of August 2022. And it actually looks like the rival system is a little bit different from what I was expecting it might be. We'll talk about that, but let's do the announcement. Greetings, founders. As you may remember us mentioning in our most recent update, our team is focusing on implementing some big features before our 1.0 launch this winter, and in order to get them done as efficiently as possible, Industries of Titan will be moving away from the monthly update schedule that we've stuck to throughout early access to a more irregular update cadence. This means that while we may not have a new content patch for players every month, we'll still continue to keep you updated on the development progress we're making behind the scenes, and that's exactly what we're here to do today. Read on to get a sneak peek of what our next major update has in store. Rivals 2.0. In May, we introduced Rival AI, a major change to how players achieve victory on Titan in the form of some good old-fashioned friendly competition. Soon, however, rebels will not be the only military threat posed to a player and their rival, as corporations will begin to engage in some not-so-friendly competition with each other. The core elements of this feature are: players can use their ships to freely attack their rival's city. Rivals will build defenses in turn, intercepting players' ships with ships of their own. Destroying the rival HQ will put them out of business and allow players to acquire any abandoned tiles of land within their command range by spending influence. And players will also acquire any buildings, resources, citizens, and employees that are on a tile that they've acquired. We also have here two new leaders. Also, we're currently working on adding support for playing against up to 3 rivals at once, each with their own unique personalities, backstories, and goals. This is in preparation for one of our biggest game-changing features, Campaign Mode, which we will be sharing more information about with you all next month. Quality of life changes and balance. We have lots of quality of life UI changes coming as well, such as adding new tooltips and improving the clarity of various features. One big change we're making is allowing players to access and conduct research in the tech tree from the beginning of the game. Science labs will still require credits to unlock, but will now simply improve research efficiency, which speeds up the rate of research. And with new features comes new dimensions to existing interlocking gameplay systems. So we're introducing some balance changes to ships and influence to help level playing the field between players and rivals. Thank you for all your feedback and support as we continue to grow Industries of Titan and prepare for its full launch. We hope this small sample of all the new content we've got brewing has you eager for the upcoming features, as eager for the upcoming features as we are. Later today, we'll be releasing an experimental patch for those of you who are looking to get your hands on some of the features covered here right away. And if you haven't yet, be sure to join our Discord for all the latest Titan-related announcements and discussions. Good luck out there, Founder, Demi, and the Brace Yourself Games team. So one thing that I notice, and I suspect the word choice here when it says freely attack a rival city, the teaser for this game actually has, I believe it's Einar Peer, although maybe not identified as such at the time. But there is a discussion about some combat that's about to start and how an individual is in violation of some rules. And that ultimately they need to buy a combat bond in order to sort of blow a ship out of the sky. And definitely it's sort of suggested where things were going. And obviously that is definitely a kind of a theme, sort of it's in line with sort of the world that is suggested by Industries of Titan. But given the fact that it says freely attack, at least in Rivals 2.0, that does not seem to be present. Now, I can think of a number of reasons why that might be true. I will definitely say that adding even more complications to engaging with rivals is probably going to be something that exacerbates I don't even know if I'll call it a problem, but definitely one thing I've noticed, which is right now, the rival doesn't seem to do that much to me. In the current playthrough, I've got a lot of I've obviously developed out. I finally found them, but overall, I've made better progress on achieving my goal. The rebels are the thing that I'm really worried about right now, and so while rivals exist in the game now, they haven't really altered that much of my approach. At least it doesn't feel like it. And so I suspect one of the worries you might have is that if you impose some kind of a cost to attack a rival, if it turns out that the majority of people are experiencing what I'm experiencing with rivals, which is sort of they're present, but maybe the impact isn't as strong as it would be. I would guess here that something like a combat bond will potentially run counter to how people should be behaving with rivals. Again, I've not played enough with the rivals, and I don't know what the original plans were, or if this is a change from the original plans, enough to be able to sort of say for sure what the motivation behind that might be. But my guess here, at least based on a couple of hints that I got from some of the early trailers and things like that, is that this might be a bit of a shift in tone, and it's not clear if this will change later or if this is sort of what the intention always was. But I am definitely looking forward to seeing Rivals 2.0. And on that note, I think what I'm going to be doing in future is I'm going to go for both Phantom Brigade and Industries of Titan. I'm actually going to start playing on the experimental branch. Now, that's going to be after I complete the run for Industries of Titan, I think the one that I'm on right now. And of course, we're going to be spending some time with Phantom Brigade as well, because, it's been a while since we played that. But I think probably in order to be able to enjoy some of these new updates, what I'll do is I'll switch to the experimental branch for both games. And then that way we'll be able to sort of see some of the new things that are coming up. One last thing, let's just take a quick look and see if maybe it would be under press. Anyways, there's a Crypt of the Necrodancer announcement that's coming out tomorrow. And clearly what you just do is you go into the sites and you say 2. No, I guess it's not Crypt of the Necrodancer 2. No. But yeah, there's a new update inside of there was a new update for the game, first time in a very long time. And they've been teasing that there is a big new announcement for Crypt of the Necrodancer, which will be there is a big new update that will be announced. Or sorry, when I say an update, I'm not necessarily talking about an update to the game. There's a big announcement related to Crypt of the Necrodancer, which will be happening at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So I think that's about 1 o'clock Eastern time where I am. Let me just see if I can bring up the Necrodancer news. Yeah, attention all Necrodancer lovers. Drum roll, please. We've got a super secret Necrodancer announcement coming at you this Thursday, August 4th at 10 a.m. PST. Be sure to tune into the announcement's YouTube premiere on Brace Yourself's YouTube channel to find out exactly what we've got in store for you all. Get notified when the announcement goes live so you can join the watch party through the Discord event linked below. We can't wait to celebrating our exciting news with you all. So, I mean, I would have a guess here that this is probably some kind of a like new product. It would seem to me that you probably don't put some kind of a watch party together for an update similar to what they've done before. But I mean, Brace Yourself has chosen the time and the date that they did, and they've chosen to tease it in the way that they have. So I don't really think that there's a whole lot of value in speculating on that sort of stuff. But again, Brace Yourself Games is a really interesting developer. Once upon a time when I was asked more often, where do you find all these interesting games? In the case of Brace Yourself, they're very good at marketing, but part of this just comes down to following interesting game developers and sort of keeping on top of what they're up to. And it sounds obvious, right? But there's 2 ways that you wind up finding interesting things, which is number 1, the people who make things that you like are more likely to, who've done it in the past are more likely to make something that you enjoy in the future. But on top of that, they also play games. They also, follow people and talk about the things that they're interested in. And so, for me, I think one of the real benefits of sort of following the people who are making things that you're interested in, on top of the fact that it's just fun to follow stuff that you're interested in, is that you are, you're going to be able, actually, I'll put it to you this way. It's like if you have a favorite writer or a thinker, one of the really valuable things, if like you really start nerding out about, about this individual and you want to know more about them, like finding out what was in their library is usually a really big deal. And it kind of helps you if you're trying to figure out the intellectual development, or if you're trying to, just work through some of this stuff. Like figuring out what books they were reading is really, really helpful. And to me, like when it comes to game developers and like following the stuff that I'm interested in, I definitely feel the same way as far as as far as, whether it's Twitter or various forms of social media. Like, I think in general, I've gotten a lot out of just following people who have made or worked on things that I find interesting in the past, and that'll usually give me a leg up in terms of finding new and interesting things. So if you're not doing that already, following the Brace Yourself Discord, following their Twitter accounts, checking out announcements like that are a really good way to stay on top of things and find your next favorite game. And with all of that in mind, we will now go into my current favorite game, Industries of Titan.
Titan. Everyone comes to Titan with a dream. Our moon is one of limitless wealth. There are ancient riches here for those with the strength to claim them. But some dreams start smaller. A better life, more dignity, more comfort. Today, Titan is a place where you can buy those dreams, where anyone can profit. But it isn't easy. You have to prove yourself here. Those who settle here take that risk. And without their diligent labor, our power grid would fail. Pollution would overwhelm us. And our trade would collapse. It's hard work, but on Titan, hard work isn't enough. The bold, the strong, those are the people Titan rewards. Those are the ones who see their dreams through. Exceptional people. Friends to the Council. That is why we're giving you this opportunity, Founder. We expect great things from you. Make sure you live up to our expectations.
The other thing I probably should have mentioned for Industries of Titan, especially after calling it a favorite game, I was given a key for this from Brace Yourself Games, who for promotional purposes. So again, obviously very enthusiastic about them, and I'm encouraging you to check out their stuff. And now I'll just encourage you to go and buy all of it. But it is always good to disclose these sorts of things. So I was given a key for Industries of Titan for promotional purposes, and have continued to enjoy sharing it with you since then. So let's continue on with the story of the Cadence Group. Caner Machines allow skyscrapers to be built in record time. Vecta laser technology prints a nanoweave lattice of minerals and isotopes. Okay, so one thing I kind of need to do is take a look at sort of the state of play. So if I recall correctly, we destroyed all of the rebels. Now, this does not mean that we're safe. What it does mean, though, is that we have taken, we've sort of maximized the influence that we'll be able to sort of gain the cap. And so if I want, I can sort of do some things to increase the rate. That will be particularly helpful for, I think there was a council monument. Yeah, it's 12 council obelisks. And in fact, that's one I probably want to work on sooner rather than later. That's going to have some big power requirements, but I think we'll be in a state to work that all out. The other thing that I want to do is claim the remaining mineral, or the remaining tiles in my existing my existing range. I am going to want to do things like improve or like build up the command center and such, but I can wait a little while on that. We just got the isotope mine set up, and actually, yeah, no, we'll just leave that be. I did make a change in terms of how I felt about, having this particular isotope mine set up. I am still hoping to get the extended range for the mines, but in this case here, I'm not really helping myself by holding back on resource development. So I'm gonna start by grabbing the resources I can. Don't need the artifacts quite as much. I'll still get them, but it's only if the opportunity comes up. Okay, so I'm going to eventually start building up the residential and office areas. We'll also start building up the conversion centers. But what I really want to be working on right now, we don't have a way of attacking the rival corporations. And so what I want to start doing is figuring out where I'm going to get these 35 victory points from. And I specifically want to be working towards achieving those goals. So storing energy is a big one, and that's eventually going to unlock possessing tier 3 resources. So one thing I'm going to want to start doing is putting down some batteries. It's also fair to say that the fuel philanthropist owning 4 fuel silos, essentially all of the what is it, Utah? Slightly different kind of conversion, but I suppose the open question as to which one is more pleasant. How you doing, Edgemarian? But yeah, so we will... storage is going to be one of the easiest things we can deal with, and part of it's just going to be cramming them into little corners where we don't have any other use for some of our, some of that space elsewhere. We've already got the extra ships, so we're in good shape there. However, we don't yet have 88 employees. Now, that will mostly be dealt with as we upgrade and probably expand the conversion centers. But again, we need to make sure that we make the space and the time to achieve that goal. But yeah, so the military line we more or less have in hand. The economic line, I'm going to argue over time, as long as we build out the energy resources, I think we will handle sort of I call it the economic line, but there is actually a name for this. Oh yeah, economics expertise, martial mastery. Oh, okay. So yeah, 12 council obelisks is one that I'm going to need to work pretty hard for, and then own 84 connected buildings. Now, I tend to connect already. So one thing we might want to think about is we've got 26 already. I'm going to add 4 fuel silos, so I might as well connect them. That brings me up to 30. And then I'm going to be building some batteries. I guess I'll need to figure out how many batteries I'm going to build. Yeah, so I guess that's an open question. Well, anyways, we're up to 30. 84 is quite a lot. So I am going to need to make some specific efforts to expand. But I don't necessarily see that as a deal breaker. I do think we're going to be able to achieve that without too much difficulty. The last branch that's going to be a little more difficult is the political powerhouse, and it's because of the turrets. So in the end, it wants me to move up to 10. Now I have enough citizens, but I need to build at least 4 defensive turrets in order to be able to make this work. And in the end, like between the obelisks and the towers, these are fairly costly as far as energy is concerned. So one of my biggest sources of connected buildings, I think, is going to be the construction of fuel turbines. So I want to make sure that I'm sort of spreading them out properly. So, a fuel turbine here would be a really good idea, or maybe in here. Making sure that I've got some power generators as well to handle the extra fuel and just to be able to keep everything running. But I mean, that's also going to require some minerals and isotopes in that. So the way I'm going to sort of try and balance everything out is to find the things that don't cost a lot of isotopes so we can start getting our isotope mining underway. We can kind of get that started. We can get that refined. And essentially, over time, we're going to be improving the residential and residential commercial areas as well as the conversion centers. And that's going to be a way that we can basically where we can sort of naturally work our way up to the kind of expansion that we need. So that's the overall goal. We'll see whether or not I can pull it off, but I think I'm ready to unpause now. So, Council Obelisk will require 200 construction units and 4 isotopes. So we do need tier 3s for the obelisks, unfortunately. So one idea for me with these obelisks is to just stick them in these little corners where, in these little corners where I don't really have any other use. Now, things like this energy pylon, this gets a little tricky because this energy pylon doesn't reach out here. But again, it's fair enough for me to just hit the upgrade here. So these cost 16 energy. We should be generally fine. Similar problem with this guy, actually. So unfortunately, that's going to knock down a couple things that I wanted running, but... Now, I do need to think about storage for those fuel silos. Those are 50C. Those are actually quite cheap. So the one thing I don't want to do is put them near like important infrastructure. They make a big boom when they're destroyed. So you need to be careful. On the other hand, I don't want to put them in undefended territories because then they're really going to, then they're really gonna go up. There's some tasty resources here. Okay, let's grab more isotopes. And how is my... So I think we're at a point here where I can start donating credits in order to grab influence, and then eventually we'll try and convert some of those isotopes or that influence into isotopes. But right now, it makes as much sense for me to take out the various ruins. All right. So yeah, grants 1 influence per minute while the building is online. You'll notice that there's no options to sort of double up. That's not just because they're standing on their own. So you could... actually don't think I have any solos standing around right now. I'll try and point out an example later, but Council Obelisks stand as a single, as sort of a single unit. Now we've got actually quite a few more of these things. We've got quite a bit more in terms of tier 3 isotopes than I sort of thought we would have by now. I'm tempted to actually upgrade this command center just so I get access to more of the ruins. But is that the best thing that I could be doing right now? I'm not sure. Well, here's what we'll do. We're on leisure time right now, so let's get the next tier of residential and office. Oh, I'm gonna need a lot more if I want to get these upgrades in. Okay. Well, by this same reasoning, this is a good spot for another council obelisk, so we'll build another one there. Now, they do also help the desirability of living areas, but in this case, right, like, this is the only place people can live, so I don't really have quite the same incentive to make it worth staying in. Now, one thing I may want to be considering is, do I want to build additional residential and office space? We could probably get a nice little trio here. Yeah, actually, this isn't too bad. So let's go for... I mean, one drawback is that it's near it's near Zethane generation, but honestly, that's going to be true pretty much everywhere except sort of down south here, and down south here runs the risk of pollution, sort of. Well, actually, this looks pretty clean, so we might expand down below here for a residential area. I'll have to think about that, but I have a few other options available. I think. Ooh, that is a lot of Zethane. Well, you know what? I'm gonna sort of split the difference. So let's go for. Yeah, so we put the office here. Oh yes, sorry. I was going to give an example. So here's the solo building on its own. Oh, I got to build that. Okay, that's fine. We can build the solo building and then I can still show the same. Ah, now this doesn't work because I can't get a road in, so I wasn't thinking things through. I guess I could move the energy pylon somewhere else, but okay, so it looks like I did not... Oh, I know why. I didn't anticipate the power draw correctly because we were upgrading some houses. So we do need to get another energy plant online, and I think probably the place I want to do that is right up here in this corner. So we'll go for power. We need tier 2 for that. So now it's worth remembering that the power plant requires a worker. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to build another council obelisk just because I can. Okay, in the meantime, we're also up to 72, so we can upgrade this command center. That'll also give us a little bit of a reprieve as far as our power generation is concerned. And you know what? I changed my mind about this office. I am going to upgrade it. We're not going to be able to upgrade the residences, but we'll get on top of that later. Okay, now I've built a bunch of council obelisks. Maybe what I want to start thinking about are fuel silos. So there's actually, I think there's some opportunities in this area here. I do want to build sort of the foundation for another fuel turbine. Obviously, we've got one that we can turn on here, and I'm probably going to need to do that relatively soon. I can also upgrade this fuel turbine. But I'm thinking maybe... I don't exactly want to put a fuel turbine here if I don't have to because I can connect a road to it. But you know what? A fuel turbine here might work. Yeah, so actually let's get that down for starters. So this is a little wasteful because I already have a fuel turbine I haven't turned on, but we're going to be building some extra power generation before too long as well. And then I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to put a bunch of fuel silos to meet that requirement. So... you can see we're really killing it as far as our generation is concerned. So this should give me lots of opportunities to claim ruins. And in this case, we're going to go for the artifacts where we can. Now, at some point, I may want to claim some of the inert ruins. It's a tricky call on some of these because, of course, like Zethane generation, we were talking about how that's not necessarily something I want to do near the residential areas. It actually just occurred to me if I bring some bodies into the City Corp, we also gain some extra influence, which gives me access to more of these goodies. Okay. And we're going to need 72 to be able to upgrade this command center, so that's going to take us a while. If it's an emergency as far as power is concerned, I can definitely turn off a few of these things. But I think we're just going to keep. I'm just going to keep building until I run into trouble, basically. In fact, on that note, I'm going to build yet another council obelisk up here. Like I said, we're going to build a lot of these. And I suppose the next question is, where do I cram this power generation? There's a small argument for something up here. Oh, not that. No, maybe we do go for a tier 3 after all. So I could build a power plant here and still have enough space to run through. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. We don't exactly need it connected to the roadways, but the roadways wind up pretty connected to my power grid as it is, so it just winds up being a little tidier. Okay, again, more resources, so that makes me pretty happy. Almost done a science project too. So that's going to increase the HQ range. Now that's a little more limited than it used to be in terms of its effectiveness, but it should give us at least a couple more. It should at least give us a couple more. What am I trying to say? A couple more ruins to extract, and that's going to help me out with the red artifacts, or just the artifacts, and the isotopes. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple here. All right, this thing's still not powered, so I am actually going to need to work this out. And more importantly, we can access the tech web and see where we're going in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so better pollution resistance, better... So this on its own is pretty attractive. Truck movement speed is definitely one that I want to explore. Looks like this is the... Yeah, this is the top corner, so... and a large Gatling... All of these are very helpful. We can lower our fuel requirements, which is maybe not as important as all that, but... We're doing okay for salaries. We're still well above... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just go for the truck movement speed right now. I am going to want to build another science building before too long, but I'm still trying to really launch our isotope levels, so... Okay, so this is saying that we're already draining our fuel tank, so I think we'll just bite the bullet and we'll assign an employee to one of our fuel turbines. Now, I do want to upgrade the energy plant as soon as I can, but again, we're waiting on isotope refining. Right now, a lot of my upgrade space is being sort of locked up. Yes, this says we got fueled philanthropist, but honestly, I'd prefer to... How are we doing employee-wise? So it says we've got 30 free. What are they up to, though? Looks like a lot of attention's being spent on cleanup. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep claiming raw materials. It's a little weird to prioritize that over artifacts, but that just happens to be the space that I'm in right now. Oh, I should have used the 11. Okay. So yeah, I think my next move actually has to be about getting some more employees, because I'm definitely feeling the pinch as far as workers are concerned. So one of the things that I want to do again is build some more of these conversion centers. Now there's one version of this which says, okay, that's all well and good, but like maybe what you really want to do is upgrade the ones that you have. And again, that's a question in terms of how many isotopes I have. Clearly we're isotope constrained, so going out is preferable to...
If you stand for the council, you stand against us.
I was definitely not paying attention. So there is a danger, incidentally, the way that I'm doing this. The level of influence that I'm building is going to accelerate the rate of rebel attacks pretty significantly. So one thing I should probably be doing before too long is building out those turrets. That'll help me out with the defenses. And again, we're getting to a point where we'll have the energy plants to take care of things. Okay, what are we up against here? So... yeah, this is going to be one of the ones where I try and knock out the transmission. So these things are going to hurt if they can get it the whole way, but... Okay, yeah, they're all shut down. Great. Okay, so here's going to be how we pursue this particular line of attack. I'm going to keep... Actually, you know what? I think if we keep one focused here. Yeah, I think this winds up carrying the day for us. Now, I would expect that there's more than one rebel ship. Oh, yeah. All right, so they've already knocked a couple of our things offline. So again, the most effective way I found to deal with the Gatling guns is to just knock them offline through power. Now I've definitely found this a trickier design to work with because it's got sort of multiple fuel turbines. It's got multiple ways of generating or storing power. So I'm curious if I just spread it all around. If that's enough to... Because like the one thing that is true for this is that generally its power infrastructure is actually pretty fragile. There's a little guy hanging out there. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, yeah, so that does look like that effectively took down the Gatling guns. That's good, but in the meantime, I did let somebody slip by the defenses. So there's the Dog of Hope. They're going after the activated relay. Oh, actually, we've got more than one activated relay. Okay. So, here. Oh, okay, no, it's the same item, just on fire and under attack, so definitely a priority for us to deal with. Okay, so again, we're contending with Gatling guns. The real trick here is that this is protected by shields, so I have all my work cut out for me here. This is definitely the trickiest of the designs for me to contend with. I mean, one thing hey, Takri, how you doing? One thing I could try and do is just try and starve them out on this side. Like, so we're kind of going to have to accept what will happen on this side. And then, well, let's see how it goes. So we'll take 3 and 4. Because this may not actually get covered after all. So we're definitely going to see some weapons knocked off. We'll see. They are probably going to spend more time charging these batteries, so there's a little bit of hope that we might be able to... Okay. An activated filter, so what slipped through? Oh, the penance. Okay, more shields. So again, probably power is where I want to attack them here. This is another tricky one, because like what we're looking at here. So if I say, any tips for how to identify what the purpose and function of the various lights and buzzers on the enemy ships? I mean, they're the same equipment that you. I'm sorry to hear about the headache, decree. So like the ship is built out of the same things that you have access to. I don't know if this is something like. I don't know if this is just something that's true for the game that, like it never would have been considered any other way, or if there was a conscious choice in terms of how it sets up. But what you need to think about is the conditions under which you're going to be in a case where you can target specific parts of a ship. So if you have defensive turrets and you're basically playing Space Invaders, you're not actually going to be able to target specific parts of enemy ships. The only conditions under which you can attack enemy ships will be if you have your own ship. And if you have built your own ship, that means you understand what the parts are. And you'll notice that the arrangement may be different, but that the parts in my ship are the same as the parts of the enemy ship. So, in essence, the way that you know what to target is... it's essentially you say, well, what would I not want them to attack, basically. And in this case here, I don't really see, personally, I don't have a difficulty reading these because they're all fairly distinctive. Like, this is a weapon. You can actually see the charge level off of the laser as a small, medium, and a large. The relays are pretty distinctive. These are the same relays that we've used inside of our factories. Like, essentially, all of these parts are parts that we've had since the very beginning of the game. And if you do the tutorial, these are some of the first parts that you'll ever construct in your buildings. The exception would be the engines, but in the end, I don't necessarily think the engines are part of a specific strategy. So I don't really know if there are any tips so much as just understanding how to play the game. But what you may be getting at is that as a viewer, it's hard to get a read on what's been going on. And I mean, I'm not 100% sure if I have a good answer to that, other than there's probably more of a benefit to having been there for the earlier parts of the playthrough. But again, in the case of Industries of Titan, there's no point where you need to pick. Fuel is yellow, power systems are blue. And I mean, the challenge with blue is that you also have life support and medicine. So color-wise, I'm not entirely sure it's the best way to read it. And then, of course, with the batteries will go from red to yellow to blue depending on the level that they're filled at. But yeah, no, it's one of these cases where in the case of Industries of Titan, the different components are ones that you've been using since the very beginning of the game. So in that case, I don't really feel like there are too many surprises in terms of figuring out what to target. The deeper challenge for me is that there are these shields in the area. So what are the different ways that I can stop this ship from damaging me? Well, one, I could just directly attack the weapons, but again, each of those weapons are defended by shields. So it's okay, well, maybe what I want to do is I want to cut off the power. So let's assume that I was able to take out the power, right? That's not unreasonable for me to think that I could do that. But what's also true is that even if I take out the power, there's still batteries that it's connected to. So admittedly, the batteries will probably drain reasonably quickly given the fact that there's just so much stuff that's being sort of powered by it. But still, there's a challenge. There's going to be some difficulty trying to prevent the weapons from being able to do the damage to me. So another way that you could try it would be, well, why don't we try taking out the fuel? If we take out the fuel, then the power is not going to be able to be generated, and then we'll be able to stop the weapons that way. And we come back to the battery problem, which is the batteries are going to give them enough power to kind of carry things on. So I do actually find this even though I've got 4 of the most powerful weapons, I actually find this a fairly difficult ship to to sort of just set it and forget it with. And I like that. I mean, part of the ship battles are that they're these little puzzles. What I may do is just go for the power because I can. If I can take out a relay as well, so much the better. So we'll see how this goes. But as you can see, right, that's a huge amount of shielding. So I suspect that the relays are gonna be on this side are gonna be protected. Yeah. So life support went down. I was interested to see that. I mean, if nothing else, this is a fairly weak ship. Just by, shooting the guns, we've caused some pain already. So I think we'll just let it. Run its course. I think everybody else is busy doing their combat normally, so I don't need to think too carefully about the next few steps. So I'm going to lose my Fuel Philanthropist score by connecting... Oh! There we go. But this is sort of intended. I did want to double up the fuel. We'll do the same with batteries soon, but again, I'm a little short on isotopes. So let's get somebody in that energy plant. Okay, so we're gonna send some ships for repairs. Looks like we lost a crew member. Alright, so yeah, this is definitely not a set it, forget it affair. I wonder what I did wrong. Well, there's plenty of things I did wrong. I'm still going to let them slug it out here, but yeah, I'm not crazy about how this one's turned out. One thing I might be able to do is try and bring it in range of the turret. Nope. Okay. Still gonna try taking out the transmission. Okay, so this thing's knocked offline, but this is still powered. Okay, there we go. We've knocked both we've knocked both Gatling guns offline. So this should free up the third laser. I think in this case we're just going to try and take out as many relays as we can. But that, yeah, we should be good to go here now. Okay, you get some repairs. Prancing Venus is not the one that is in most need of repairs, but it's the one that's currently available. And I think I'm going to get the connections done before I build some new ones. Nope. Okay, so we've got a fully upgraded command center here now, so this is going to be, this is a little bit more realistic for me to be able to like do some proper expansion in. How close are we to our goal for obelisks? We're almost halfway.
How many rebel ships will you destroy before you see the light and join us, Founder?
So notice, just by sort of letting the Enterprise sort of run normally, we're already up to 148. So I'm just going to be able to mow down a ton of these ruins. Again, I'm a little more interested in raw resources where I can get them, but once I've sort of taken those, any artifact I can grab is sort of second best. Oop, I missed one. Okay, that's going to lock up my workers for a little while, but we will... Actually, while I'm at it, we should add another employee. Okay, so fuel turbine here will add maybe, or not a turbine, but fuel storage here will add maybe another fuel here. At some point I'll grab these mineral patches, but that's not super critical right now. Should probably think about where I'm putting down some turrets. So I'd need to upgrade this energy pylon, but I think I can get a turret down here. Yeah, actually, let's start that. Actually, before I do... Oh, they snug it out from under me. Okay, so you get an upgrade. I've also got sort of a surplus of isotopes, so let's upgrade the residential areas. This office, just shy. yeah, I think I'll stick this turret down here. And I guess probably the turret down here gives me an excuse to extend the road a little bit. In fact, while I'm at it, that'll help me with the waste. I don't need to get too clever with some of this stuff. Let's just build the fuel silos. So batteries will be next for storage. Now this I want to leave open because I still have the illusion that I'm going to put a mine here. But probably what I'm most interested in right now is where I can cram any new council obelisks. If I can get 7 more down, that's just another victory condition. And just to be clear, there's like plenty of places I can put them on their own. I'm trying to be somewhat intelligent in terms of where they go. So like, you know, this is a good spot for a council obelisk if I want to put a, you know, double something up here. Like this would be good for maybe a power generator. Another factor I want to consider is access to power. So batteries don't really work here. That's one of the reasons why these fuel turbines kind of work in this area, because there's no real power. Batteries, on the other hand, I am going to need to think about how I connect them to the grid. So I don't know, council monument here seems to work, so... Or obelisk, sorry. Okay, no more raw resources to grab, so let's clear out these artifacts. So just a reminder, this may wind up being an alternative residential area for me at some point. Okay, I guess if I'm going to build a turret, I kind of have to build it here. Well, I mean, it's better than nothing. Now, does that make sense compared to, say... Well, no, because I can still get road access on this side. Yeah, okay. Now, I am noticing some citizens are starting to drop off. I'm a little curious about that, because they shouldn't really be going in any places where there's pollution, right? Like, there's pollution down here, but I don't see any reason why citizens should be hanging out here. I'm actually a little more interested... Honestly, I'm a little more interested in where I put my last turrets. This area isn't a terrible spot for them. I am kind of putting it down at random at this point, but... Okay, I'll connect you. Okay, so conversion centers and obelisks are probably next on the list now. So basically, with Fuel Philanthropist, we're going to have 4 doubled up fuel silos. Pretty soon, we're going to have 4 defensive turrets. In fact, depending on what my power situation looks like, I may even just turn those on permanently. But that's more or less going to require me to build another conversion center so that I can boost up the number of employees that I have. And then what else? I guess probably it would be time to get those fuel cells
Founder,
built.
I believe we should talk about research time. The more nodes my team and I have worked on, the longer it takes to complete each new piece of work. Some of this extra time can be negated by assigning more employees to the science lab, but it is still wise to think carefully about our research.
Okay, and yes, I have decided I'm going to turn on all the defensive turrets. Not great for my employee count, but good for my overall score. And more importantly, it gives me a much more realistic idea of what my power needs are. Because I'm probably going to need another generator before too long. In fact, I may need it right away, but... Did I really be... Oh, shame on me. I could have sworn that we had a defensive turret here already. Alright. Definitely foolish on my part, but that's life. Okay. So again, it keeps revoking the Fuel Philanthropist achievement just because or victory point, because I'm sort of doubling up the tile, but we'll get it back before too long. Okay, we're at 52% on the threat level, so we're going to have another wave before too long. I think a large part of this is actually just coming from the influence that I'm generating. But again, we're definitely in a point now where we're working towards the goal, or the end goal, the win. So, in fact, what's the deal here? I'm assuming that the worker hasn't shown up here yet. There we go. Yeah, the impenetrable victory. So where I can, I just want to bring in whatever ships I can because it helps get me the the influence for more expansion. Now, I was talking about expanding out the residential and office buildings. This is partly in pursuit of the connected buildings goal. So if we take a look at the desirability of this area, so pollution-wise, it's, there is a bit of a danger in terms of the smokestacks, particularly if the wind sort of winds up heading this way. But as far as Zethane is concerned, certainly this is not a terrible option. You can also sort of see how turning on a fuel turbine maybe in this area would help pull out some of the undesirable features. And then, like, more importantly, it's just the limits in terms of the expansion I can do out here. Like, we're sort of in a similar case here, except that we're more constrained as far as the roadway is concerned. Now, again, there's sort of vertical improvements that I can make as far as the office and residential buildings are concerned, which maybe take priority. But I'm keeping my options open in terms of expansion. Okay, so again, got to consider. Probably the obelisks are one that I would want to be a little more... Well, no, I do need the employees. So yeah, let's start thinking about conversion centers. I do want to upgrade the defense turrets, but again, we'll be able to just get more stuff as we have more workers to do things. So now the best place for conversion centers are high pollution areas. So this is going to require a little bit of effort on my part just to connect everything to the grid, but... So what I'm going to do here, again, because employees are immune to pollution, we can put a couple conversion centers just in this area here, and they don't need to worry about the smokestack. So that's a slightly better use of the space. And then, of course, if I want to burn the trash, we just take a truck and stick it straight into the smokestack. So let's go conversion center. We only need 2. We might be able to... It's going to take me a while to get the roadways fully built for this, but I'm okay with where we're at. I do actually think Zethane-wise we'll get the basics down for... I actually think I'm probably building a few too many fuel turbines, if I'm completely honest. But I kind of want to get the infrastructure down for some of these basics. Because again, if I can suck up some of the zethane that would otherwise be undesirable in this residential area, it just, you know, I get it. That's an obstacle out of the way a little bit faster than it otherwise would have been dealt with. One thing I could potentially do as well is build. I need another energy pylon, but I'm thinking maybe we do residential, office, residential, like that. Okay, we got faster trucks. I think I kind of need to make a move on the research efficiency. So pollution resistance for my residential areas is up next. And again, I still need to think about where I'm putting all my batteries. Almost at 30. Okay. Again, I'm using a lot of high quality isotopes here, but it's just because that's what I've got access to. The good news is that with 2 new conversion centers online, we should get a pretty decent boost as far as our... Oh, we don't have power for these. That's a pity. And that's already at the top level. Well, unlucky, but... that'll work. Now this stores energy, but I gotta spend, okay. Definitely want to take advantage of that. Now zethane generated, not so much, so I could actually destroy that for its goodies. Again, debating as to whether or not I really need more office and residential right now. Probably not. I think it's conversion centers and obelisks that I really need. So we'll leave that all on its own. And again, at some point I'm going to build like a big farm of batteries. Actually, I can kind of start some of that now. Yeah, well, I could if I wasn't so strained on isotopes, actually. So maybe we'll relax for a little bit. Okay, I'll finish off the roadways. Now, again, I'm going to probably wind up putting down some command centers in the area here to expand out my territory, but for the time being, I think we still have a bit of room to grow, so I can work with what I've been given right now. And again, just being able to have a breather and spend more time using minerals than other assets would be sort of nice. We can go up to 82. Now our goal is to have, how many workers was it again? 88. So I would actually like one more conversion center if I can. These are good spots for conversion centers, but we're at the limits of our territory. I guess I could maybe get away with a... Could try and get away with a... Well, I mean, I guess conversion center here. Then I could put a... Well, no, command center would go here. Yeah, so it's better to put something sort of lengthwise in this area and then... Okay. But we can start the conversions right away. So that's going to cause a really big drop in our total citizen population. But again, we're making so much money per turn that we're not really going to feel the effect. You're totally here, but semi-AFK-ish. No problem, Algorins. Good to see you. Okay, I'm not worried about the mineral patch being depleted. We really just did that for the space. So again, I'm trying to relax a bit. By the way, never thought I'd see the day. We are at 0 waste. Also worth noting, we are back to the limits of our power. So now again, there's stuff that I could turn on. There's stuff that I could turn off if it came to it. But I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build a power plant on this side. Yeah, and then we've got space for the conversion center. We'll need to double it up to upgrade, obviously, but... Okay, so, and it looks like if I want to take out any more ruins, I'm going to have to build another command center. Or, sorry, go after inert ruins first, I suppose. Well, I can do some of that, so this one we're not going to use. I feel like the Zethane generator we might, so we'll just hang on to that. I don't see us generating... Well, this could be useful for its fuel. I don't know, I mean, they are close to residential areas, but I will reserve judgment for now, let's say. Okay. Big threat level. Now, I'm going to want to be particularly careful of these defense turrets.
The council's money is blood money, and you've been pouring it into your pockets.
These things are going to attract rebel attacks, but they're not really going to be in a position to defend themselves against the rebels. So, in this case, I want to be kind of careful on how some of this stuff gets handled. Okay, So, if there's no batteries on this one, so this is actually a piece of cake. I guess the last question is where do I want to hit him? Yeah, so everything just got shut off there. Great. So one thing we don't want to do is run into a situation like last time where I'm spending so much time focusing on the individual ships that we can't that I don't defend what I have. So this is in hand, so I'm not too worried about that. We did have a power problem, but again, we're doing a lot of upgrades and all of that, so I think our power is going to sort of fluctuate over the next little while. So yeah, even though we just did a mass conversion, we're still at zero waste. That is a thing of beauty. Mind you, that's also probably an indicator that I'm not doing as much production as I would like. How you doing, Vanguard Master? I was doing a catch-up day today, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it done tonight, but I'm finally putting. I started putting some quality time on your GoFundMe page, and I think I'm not 100% there, but like it's kind of gone past the like I'm gonna tool away on this for a little while thing to like no, I'm sitting down and properly like working this out. So I'm hoping I should have something for you. Soon. I appreciate your patience on that. Also, it was nice to get a chance to talk with you the other day. Okay, so this is about knocking out the batteries first. So now what I'm going to do is while they're... So I think what's going to happen is that for charging, these batteries are going to get repaired first. So even though we did get damaged a bit, I think we're going to be able to sort of knock down the... Oh, you know what? This thing is probably going to... Also, for some reason, I thought there were shields on this, which there aren't. So it actually would have been better for me to hit these relays. Okay, I kind of blew it, but... I think we can still see this through. You did a few more picks a couple of days ago from the new stuff that you made. It was nice to actually talk instead of talk, as long as you're okay with you crashing the party every now and then. You'll drop in to see if you guys are chatting. Yeah, I mean, we were, I think that was after Blends Day, if I'm not mistaken. So I was sort of extending the conversation well past what I think anybody was expecting. But it's obviously nice to catch up with people, including yourself and Valiant Cheese. My biggest thing for Blends Day is I'm hoping I'm able to have a better command of Blender for the next one. Okay, so let's intercept the Dog of Hope. I do want to make sure that we're on top of... So yeah, it looks like all these things have been knocked down. Nope, they're back online. So let's see how the new strategy works. We better hope this turns out. Nice! Okay, yeah. So that thing's done. So again, a lot of the strategy that we're employing here is about taking out the... So the way I used to do it would be to just focus on taking out the weapons themselves. Whereas the more advanced ships, it definitely feels like the preferred strategy is to take out the infrastructure that's powering these weapons. So again, it becomes a little bit of a puzzle. So like, here's, just to give, again, it's sometimes one of these things I can appreciate from Purple's Art's previous question. Like, it can seem like a little bit of magic to just be like, well, how do you know what thing to target? And again, like, for this game, you've been living with these parts forever. So here are a couple of ways that I might approach this ship. So one thing I might say is that, okay, so this thing's shooting at me with lasers, so the lasers aren't quite as dangerous as some of the other, some of the other weapons I'll be up against. So one option I could say is just take out the crew by taking out the life support. I could say, well, I'm still really scared about those lasers, so what do I do? Well, what I would need to do here is I wouldn't just have to... So it's not just a question of taking out the power. So the generators are obviously quite difficult to take out. But you might notice it's like, well, there's a possibility here though, right? You know, you take out these relays and these relays, so then this power generation's not going to work. And then you can say, well, I could also maybe take number 3 here to go after these relays. But then it's like, oh, but I don't have ways of dealing with these relays, and they're going to wind up connecting to everything else that's required. More importantly, there's batteries. So even if you wind up disconnecting the ship from its main generators, if there's a battery enabled, they are still going to be able to fire at you, and generally that's going to create some problems. So in this case here, I'm going to just accept that there's a certain amount of damage that I'm going to take, but that is going to be more limited because they're firing with 3 lasers, whereas I'm hitting them with 4. So we're basically going to keep the herd on with the life support, and that's going to keep the crew occupied with repairing all of that, and we'll basically just sort of win the race when it comes down to it. Also, we should hopefully get augmented by some of the... Nope, our turret coverage is just shy of what we needed. Okay, let's get... Ooh. Running out of ships. This will be an interesting test to see how long the ships last. Okay, wow. So the good news here is that it's just 2 little lasers. So like one option that I have would be so what's nice about this is that so I'm not necessarily guaranteed to be taking out the weapons right away, but we have a lot of firepower concentrated on where the crew is. So it's likely we're going to be damaging some crew, but more importantly, we're overwhelming the shields. So you'll see how this works. See? So in this case, I would expect that the weapons should be disabled. And like, yes, there's the possibility that somebody will be manning this this shield generator again, but clearly we've just been able to overwhelm it and get the damage done. So in this case, we're a little bit safer than we were before. So as long as there aren't any more rebel ships, we should be in good shape. And more importantly, we're on our way to the magic number of employees. All right, well, this is tricky. They are doing a good job of taking us off our guns. Although it does look like they're still losing. It does look like they're still losing crew to deactivated life support. This is a giant wasp. Okay, no, that's... Oh, come on. Ah, you know what, that's fine. So yeah, I'll admit, I am feeling a little nervous about this fight, but I think we'll still... win it out. Look at that, 0 fuel, even though... Or 0 waste, even though we're converting like mad. Okay, apparently we've got 40 idle employees. I would not have expected that. So, we're gonna get reckless. First of all, I'm gonna turn on all the fuel turbines. And then we're going to turn on all the production lines. Because if we genuinely have 40 employees idle, we should be laughing as far as the like, so there's 4 employees that get taken out on each production line. That is also going to be another big hit to my grid, but that's kind of secondary. And then the good news out of this is that if this does actually work, let's just make sure that I notice every once in a while it actually takes 2. Yeah, so we saw a big drop in terms of the number of jobs to be done, but we certainly have more than what we need. Okay, so we need to get some repairs in. So connected buildings and obelisks kind of seems to be the big push next. I'm gonna let the I'm trying to think, do I want to upgrade my conversion centers for even more workers? Do I want to try and upgrade the defense turret? You know what? At 24, let's upgrade a few conversion centers. Well, actually, probably I should be upgrading the infrastructure in the form of the energy plants. So let's start there. I should stagger this a little bit. Actually, you know what? If I upgrade everything, then I don't have the same power demands. Hello, Immortal Velity. Yes, I was wondering if you'd stop by today so that you could see the magic number.
got lucky this time, Founder. You won't be next time.
Yeah, we are laughing as far as our production's concerned, so let's get some energy depots down. So that should be a tier 2 isotope, yeah. Sorry, I also just want to make sure the repairs are getting done properly. We should be able to get some more citizens in as well after all the conversions. Okay. I feel a little gross doing this, but I am actually going to upgrade the energy pylon so I can get a council monument in there. Sorry, council obelisk. Okay, so the next question is there anything kind of effective that I can do here? Now, there's always kind of a special spot whenever you're next to a road, so let's maybe leave those. But this would probably work for batteries. That wasn't thought through. But I do get to put another council obelisk down. Okay, so we just had a bunch of upgrades happen. Actually, you know what? Let's also do that with our energy plants. I should be thinking about grabbing that artifact patch soon because I'm certainly hitting the limits of my reach. I thought for a second that might be a rebel ship. I'm like, I thought I wiped you guys out. Okay. So yeah, again, the goal right now is to fill as many of the goals as we can. I'm not 100% sure what our energy storage is going to look like by the end of this, so let's maybe start by focusing on that. Okay, what was I thinking? So I said there was something special about... Okay, that's fine. We can connect you. Obelisk makes sense here. This may get a conversion center, because I've noticed that we're not at... we don't say we have free... It doesn't say we have free workers anymore. Mind you, one of the reasons we don't have free workers is because we're just doing so much. Okay. We're also starting to test the edge of our salaries, so I might want to cool it for a little while. Let's start by upgrading the office. Now I'm also curious if it counts the actual energy stored or if it's my capacity. So we're at 56k. Yeah. Okay, so it's actually looking at specific. So it's not a question in terms of capacity. It's a question in terms of actual storage. So if I fill up my batteries, we're good. But I do actually need to sort of get everything. I do need to get everything filled up. Which is fine. The cry of every villain just before they fall. I thought I killed all of you. Okay. I do think I want to claim this ruin, even if I'm not using it for the Z-Thane. Okay, so there's going to be a few ways that I can expand. So put a command center down here. I don't really have power for this command center, but we'll work around that. And in fact, prep with a council obelisk. Let's just... Actually, you know what? That doesn't make sense. If I upgrade this energy pylon, yeah, you know what? I'd love to put a council obelisk down, but it doesn't actually make as much sense. Okay. There's all this untapped land in here that I can connect to a road, so I do need to think a little bit about what I'm going to try and accomplish with it, but... Oh, more rebel threat on its way. Can I start upgrading some turrets? So you can really see, right, with the addition of these extra workers, like the rate at which we're doing stuff is exploding. So this is definitely the point I was hoping to get to as far as being able to achieve goals. Now, we're definitely not going for the bronze victory.
Seat at the council's feet, Founder, and see what true conviction looks like.
Oh. You get back here. So the turret would have picked them up if I wasn't doing the upgrade, but... Oh, I think I just pulled him out of the range. Actually, I should probably... I mean, that wasn't a terrible strategy that they put in. Again, if we kill the batteries... Actually, that was reasonably clever, the way they set that up. It's going to require like a couple phases, but we should actually be able to really put the screws to them. So now that this thing is targeted, so we're going to start by taking these out. So the next question is, how do we stop these, like these areas from getting power? So we'll take 1, 2 here. It looks like they already hit us with Gatling guns. All right. This is one of these tricky multi-phase problems. So this might actually wind up being a bit of a slog. Oh, that's a shame. I didn't even think to check the range for the energy pylon. Okay, I don't even have any place where I can put the pylon, so we're just gonna dismantle that command center. Oop. Okay, this is a little bit of an easier one to deal with, so we're going to take out the storage first. Once we take out the storage, then we just need to take out the... Actually, you know what? We don't even need to worry about the relays in that case. As long as we continue to take out the storage, we're fine. Sorry, other way around. We don't need to worry about the relays. We don't need to worry about the storage as long as the relays are taken out. So I would expect this is going to be the one which is an ugly fight. I'll spend some time thinking about this one when the time comes, but right now I need to make sure that I'm catching all of the rebel ships as they emerge. Okay. So I think this relay here becomes a problem. Yep, but they're all taken out, so little damage on us, but otherwise we're fine. Oh, still have more. Okay. So the weapons aren't really that fearsome, but they're all protected by shields. If I try and go for power, they have batteries to back it up. Yeah, so think for this one we just go for the life support. And then yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Obviously I've got a few fights going on right now which I need to keep an eye on. Not that one. I don't know, it feels like most of these have kind of hit their equilibrium. But then again, sorry, this one I still needed to figure out a strategy for. Okay, so we're trying to starve... Okay, so we've taken out... Actually, sorry, we haven't taken out this storage, but we have taken out this lower level here. So if I freed up 1 and 3, what am I trying to accomplish? These relays don't mean anything. These do. Okay, no, I know what I gotta do here. Okay, so 2 and 4 are now going to be targeting... So these are the connection to the main power. And then severing the connection to this Nope, sorry. This generator gets me because of this little guy up here. But actually, maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, what 2 and 4 are targeting don't matter as much as long as these stay knocked out. So, yeah, I was thinking about this wrong. We'll take stock after this battle just to see how we can maybe do one more big push on a victory. In practice, we just need 10 more points, although I will be getting some off of the restoring my defense turrets. Should probably be working on those council obelisks a little more diligently too, but... Oh, we had science. So again, we're starting to run out of red artifacts. That is a little bit of a concern. But then that's why we expanded the way that we did.
I will not be brought low by a puppet for the council. I'll defeat you next time.
All right. God, lots of upgrades to do. Oh, and we're out of space for minerals. I mean, I could turn off the mine, I guess, but... Actually, what I'm going to start doing with my isotopes, I'm going to start requesting tier 1 from the council. It's not, like, that's not really going to move the needle all that much, but it gives me a start. We'll also claim the patch. All right. I think we'll salvage you for parts. Not too worried about the power situation right now. I think that we're going to see some fluctuations over time while I expand. Yeah, so we're at 204. But again, look at the rate at which that threat keeps going up. Well, that's convenient. I may, based on the time that it's taking us to take out some of the rebel ships, I may actually want to consider building another shipyard before too long. Right now, though, I want to boost out my energy plants. If I have to, I'll also start upgrading some fuel turbines, but that's not as critical. Okay, so I need to launch the ships before... I need to launch the ships before I can get a realistic view of my score. Everything else, though, yeah, so definitely need to be refining resources. In fact, I should be building additional mineral storage at this point. I don't think I want to be messing around with those numbers. So this is a fairly it's fairly important for me to make sure that I it's fairly important. Actually, one thing we could do is I could no, actually, hang on. We have an easy solution. We upgrade our storage facilities. So I'm still going to have dedicated waste storage, but all right, so let's launch. And again, I really want to be thinking about how I get that last that last push to the victory. So, 4 more council obelisks. Maybe turrets, but let's do the math properly. So, I could build defensive turrets. I'm gonna leave that as a kind of a last ditch effort. So if I build 4 more council obelisks, that should be another 4 points for me. So that brings me up to 31. That brings me to silver. Oh well, actually that's not that's not difficult math at all. Council obelisks and connected buildings, or council obelisks and high tier tycoon get me a gold victory. So clearly, storage and obelisks are the big priority. And then we do still want to go for connected buildings. So what I may do here, just because we are starting to see a little bit of a, I mean, we can recover a bit. We've recovered a little bit in terms of the wages, but I think building some additional residential areas down here might be a good idea. I don't know what I'm moving, but and how's the rival going? They're at 7 of 25, so we're in good shape. Okay, so let's go for a command center down here. And you know what? Let's get started on the residential and office buildings. Okay, council obelisk. I need 3 more of those. I can really kind of put them wherever, but okay, that's 2. Could upgrade that for it's going to shut down some infrastructure, but let's get some more resources. This is a Zethane generator and gives me some energy. It's just outside of range though, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that yet. The side of me that just wants to turn all the there's a side of me that just wants to turn all the pylons into tier 3 and then just be done with it, but it's probably not what I should be doing right now. Okay, so we have to connect up some residential buildings. This is an office. These don't count as in my territory because we've disabled the command center to upgrade the energy pylon. Okay, so that's going to be 3 more towards my total of connected buildings. So that's going to be up to 48. We still need 84 though, so that's a lot. I mean, maybe I just make a huge battery farm at this point. I could do fuel as well, but Yeah, so let's go nuts with the energy depots. That's going to put me on the back foot as far as accumulating tier 3 resources, but that's only going to be temporary. Okay. So the reason why I'm going battery obsessed right now is just this is a convenient way for me to get some easy double ups. So... And then I can do the same with fuel up in this area here. And then of course in an emergency we're also... it means that we're going to be able to... get more done. We're going to be able to sort of protect ourselves if some infrastructure gets knocked down, which is kind of nice, but that's obviously not the main reason I'm doing it. Okay, we're still taking a while to upgrade our tier 3s, so I'm just keeping that in mind for some of the other build. Oh, did I? Okay. Once everything's built, I want to get a read on where we're at as far as obelisks and other important upgrades go. Okay, so you connect. Connections are going to be a little bit of a pain to do just because they're not going to all come online at the same time, but we should be able to sort it out. And again, I'll do the same thing with fuel turbines, but energy right now is the bigger priority just because energy has sort of an immediate benefit. So I have a couple of ideas about what I can do on this side. Thinking maybe conversion centers. Oh, wow. Look at that jump. Okay. So, as far as victory points are concerned, we got the obelisk. So now it's basically just a race between getting enough tier 3 resources or enough connected buildings. With that in mind... There's a few things that I want to do here. I'm basically gonna get all my infrastructure planned out for the next little bit. I'm also probably going to need another energy plant before too long. Just taking a look at like what our current demands are. But again, the plants don't need to be they don't need to be connected to roadways. So I'm gonna connect a conversion center here. Oop. Probably could put a conversion center here as well. Yes. Is that the biggest thing I need right now? I might need more storage, but... No, I'm going to go for a conversion center. And I think I'm just going to accept that I'm going to need another energy plant, so let's get that built right now. I will take a look at that when I can. Aperture Science says, I've watched you play this a number of times now, you still don't know what the win condition is. So Aperture, that's changed recently actually. So the old win condition used to be to take out all the rebel camps, which I've done. With the new system, I can actually win right now if I so choose. But basically, you need to achieve a certain number of corporate goals in order to be able to, in order to claim victory. So if I wanted, I could claim a silver victory right now. I've got 31 points. But what I'm looking to do is get the gold victory at 35. So each of these tasks is going to assign me a certain number of points, and they're revealed over time. You can spend money to get them a little bit earlier. But this is one of the big reasons why I've been sort of expanding out at a really, really rapid pace. So in this case here, basically having 24,000 credits, that gets me 1 point because it's a tier 1 economic point. Whereas owning 4 fuel silos, that gave me 1 point as well. A little bit higher for tier 3, this is worth 3 points. So having storing 85,000 energy brought me to this tier 3 level. Possessing 3 ships brought me up to another 3. So in this case here, I'm really just looking to get another 4 points. So I can achieve that by building 6 more defensive turrets and having them on. Or I could take a look at, or I could go for the, I could go for one of these tier 2 or tier 5 goals. And in this case is to have a total of 800 tier 3 resources. Now I'm sort of working at cross purposes there because I've been dumping a lot of my tier 3 minerals into construction. But that I've been doing that so that I can build more connected buildings. And that's probably going to be where I get the victory from. Now, the rebel threat meter's gone up really, really quickly. So what I'm trying to do right now is just dump a whole lot of resources into some extra buildings that I'm gonna be building out. But essentially, the main victory for this game used to be to destroy all the rebel camps. Now it's to achieve some certain number of points by completing tasks before your rival does. Now, if you'll just bear with me a second here, I need to get my fuel. Well, actually, I guess I was going to do a science building, so. So yeah, power's being built there. I guess I can stick a science building in here. It's a pretty expensive one, but... Okay, we don't have the range to turn this into a full office and residential, but... Okay, let's take stock. Are there thresholds for victory conditions based on the maps? You can decide how many points you want. It'll tell you. You'll have like a long and short option at when you create your level or your map. Okay, so what I want to be doing right now is just counting the number of connected buildings. So it says I've got 47. So we should be getting 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. That's a lot still. Okay, so we're clearly not going to get that done in time, but here's what we're going to do. I'm at least going to build the fuel silos. How do I want to do this? Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh my god, I just did that all with tier 1s. That's terrible. Okay, let's try that again. I mean, in theory, I could probably put some kind of a fuel turbine up here. I guess this generates zethane, so if I'm going to put a fuel turbine down, it would be better to put it somewhere in here. I don't know. Oops. So yeah, this is a bit of an odd spot. We'll work with that. Yeah, we'll let the rebels come in for their kick at us. So I'm getting them to survey these ruins first. So I believe my workers will still be checking these out. I think they'll still be I believe they'll still be surveying even though this command center's down.
Watch me from your seat at the council's feet, Founder, and see what true conviction looks like.
I'm actually slightly tempted to just expand out my my turrets at this point. Okay. Let's go. What are we up against? Okay, so clever. So they do have a couple small batteries here protected by the shields. So, but this is a fairly easy, like as far as power is concerned, this is actually fairly easy to dismantle. The big problem are the shields. So we'll see if we can try and knock this all out in one go. Yep, we got it. And sorry, Algrins, are you referring to the shimmering effect because of the heat wave? So this was one of these ones where I was sort of under a misapprehension as to how difficult this this particular one is. We actually can just take out these particular relay. Oh, the music. I'm sorry. So again, there's a roll of the dice as far as whether or not, yeah, we land it. So usually they're able to get that first shot off, but these relays are completely unprotected. I've never actually heard the term vapor wave, but I know that basically you can add wave on the end of anything, and and you've got a genre. So. Okay, so this one is a little trickier because they are... Okay, so we're gonna do the old... So oddly enough, I actually think this is gonna be enough. Oh no, they've got their... They've got their shields up. Well, we'll see how it goes. Okay, better than expected. And we did knock out... It does turn out that we did knock out their... we did knock out their defense. I think we're just going to continue on that round, actually. See if we can carry it through to the end. Okay, who's dealing with this guy? It says a fuel silo somewhere is being attacked, but I don't... Ah, the activated tank. Okay, that is a worry. I am actually taking too long to get there. Too many rapscallions. God, look at that damage. So we should... The Prancing Pegasus should be getting there in time, but just barely. Okay. Lots of batteries. I think this is going to be one of these good old-fashioned ones where we just go straight for the... We just go straight for the guns, and then I'm going to chip away at their life support to be big meanie. We may have to say goodbye to this road. Yep. All right. And this is the same trick that we've done before, so I'm not too worried about this one. While I'm at it, let's claim some resources. Definitely want this for the energy. And you know what? You can absorb pollution. Pretty sure I just killed all my my artifacts from that, but... Okay. Honestly, most of this stuff should be just focusing on how I'm going to achieve the remaining objectives, but for the time being, we'll work with what we've been given. So I'm not focusing too much on this combat just because we sort of found the patterns we were looking for to get us where we needed to go. There's a couple of these which are trickier, namely this ship. But in a pinch, we can either try a different strategy or we can try and drag them closer to our turrets. So as far as Ethan goes, let's say we build the... Oh yeah, so we can't double anything up there. I'm mildly tempted to add some extra layers to Mineral Enhancement and Isotope University just to speed up the rate at which we're getting that Tier 3 achievement. Okay, so I'm a little worried about the state of a couple of my ships. Okay, so clearly we couldn't put this one on autopilot. But what was I missing? Because I feel like if we take out this relay and this relay, they don't really have that much to go on. Like, clearly this thing is powered right now. Oh, right. It's probably... yeah. You know what? That's just gonna suck for a while. I've never tried Carrier Command 2. So I'm fighting the rebels. There was a update that was posted by Brace Yourself. So they're not doing monthly updates for the game in preparation for release. But what they do on the Titan Tuesdays is they sort of give a here's what we've been working on update. And in this case, they were talking about the addition of, so there's already a rival corporation in the game. But in this case, what's going to happen is you will be able to fight and sort of take down rival corporations on Titan. And so it's not just going to be rebels, but right now the only people I can fight are rebels. So I'll switch out some of the ships if I have to, but I'm really hoping we don't have to. I'll take a look for it, Carlo. I appreciate recommendations like that just because I'm usually not very good at doing games that people recommend, but when they talk about types of games that I might enjoy, they help me kind of pick between stuff that, like when I'm offered a key, they sort of help me decide where I think people, where their interests are, what they think I'm interested in, things like that. So I have no idea when I'll get a chance to check it out, but I definitely will. I like it when people recommend things. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can get away with trying to take them out this way. If they take the shield... darn it. Oh, nope. Okay. That's good, because we were definitely looking at some nasty damage. Okay, do we have a better approach that we can take on these guys? Because honestly, we've not done nearly enough damage to justify the time we've been spending on this, so... Okay, not happy to see the employees die, but I suspect that's a function of some of these fights I'm losing. So I think I'm gonna withdraw the Prancing Venus, and we'll bring a fresh ship to the fight. Okay. So this is a little bit of a Hail Mary, but let's see how this starts. Okay, so again, we're still contending with the fact that they've got batteries. Yeah, again, this is going to be a big slot. I'm sure there's a way, there's a faster way through this. Actually, it's probably... No, because even the life support's shielded. I don't know, they do at least seem to be away from their weapons now. So we'll see an end to this for sure, but... okay, so what I need to do now is make sure that the ships that I'm repairing are also getting fully staffed. Are you kidding me?
For the council, you stand against us.
So we are acquiring wealth at a rate where the rebels are actually doing additional waves before the first one's been completed. So a couple things I'm going to do about that. I don't want to give up on a supreme victory. We're so close to the gold. The question is, do I think I can realistically get to 800 tier 3 resources in the time available? So I actually have 3 options available. So one says build 22 more connected buildings. Another says build 6 more defensive turrets. And honestly, defensive turrets are not that hard to build. So we're gonna adopt a new strategy. Although I do need to make sure that they all have power still. Okay, so they're covered. They don't even necessarily need to be in strategically valuable locations, but it sure is helpful if they are. Okay, I've kind of worked myself into a corner here. Like, again, it would be nice to actually use this stuff for defense, so I'm not completely abandoning strategic use. So we're up to 6. I need 4 more. Well, honestly, just building 4 more will win us the game, and then we don't need to care. But there's actually one thing I can do. So put an energy pylon down here. Because, of course, this was a site of a lot of conflict. So I'm going to need to upgrade this. So I put 4. I think I just need 2 more, right? Yeah. And for good measure, batteries. Okay, so the goal right now is to basically keep my ships alive. We need to keep them alive long enough to be able to get the turrets that we built, or that we need built. Okay. No, we... Probably should be guiding the attack here. Oh my god, look at those Gatling guns. Okay, but it looks like there's not much in the way of batteries, so... Oh Jesus, this thing's child's play. Okay, what about you? Again, I'm pretty sure if we just double up on these... I think for security, let's sort of take the flanking ones as well. Forgot to add the employee. So again, we're going to need to upgrade the energy pylon because that's not going to be... That's not going to have enough range to activate all the defense turrets. But like I said, we're really just looking to survive long enough to get all this stuff online and claim victory. That's terrifying. It's over half the health of the air purifier went under the those Gatling guns. Fortunately, this is one we've seen before, so I don't think it requires much thought beyond that. Okay, and I don't have any more ships available to help the fight, so... Okay, we'll get you... tier 3 upgrade. Okay, that's going to cover everything that I need for the turrets. So we're in the home stretch. I need to launch these ships, and we need to make sure that the turrets are powered. They've got somebody running them, but we're on our way to win. Okay, now the escape seems to be clobbering us, even though I said that this should be trivial. I'm guessing it's because the Gatling gun has just been absolutely demolishing my people. So I'm actually going to pull this one out. Again, the name of the game here is survival. What's happening with the energy pylons? Yikes! I don't have much I can do about that, but I can redirect the attention. So this thing's, yeah, got a brutal set of... Like I said, it's all about the holding pattern until we can get all the turrets online. The worst thing that could happen to me right now is if I lose one of my... I think I could actually afford to lose one ship, but that's the scenario I'm definitely looking to avoid right now. So it turns out this thing is actually a bit tougher than it seems. The right way... So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Andy Wynn who designs these. He set a trap. The way to handle these is to actually take out the fuel. But obviously I am hanging on by my fingernails, so I'm getting too easily distracted. Okay, what are we looking at as far as turrets go? So I have a specific plan about... So right now we don't have the points for having enough ships. I think we'll actually just get that. Yeah. There's a very specific plan that I have because I do want to have an outside option just in case we get overwhelmed by the rebels. Just make sure everything's lined up where it needs to be. Okay, yeah, we just need 4 more once this thing goes online. There they go. Oh, hang on. We're close. All right, victory point impenetrable achieved. We can claim our victory.
It seems you were a good investment. Well done.
And that's the first time. So we have done a victory before under these conditions, but I was under a very similar pressure from the rebels, and so I actually had to sacrifice. I was going to get a number of tiers in terms of a win, and I actually had to give up in order to stop the base from being overwhelmed. So I actually think the new victory system's working rather well for me. I know people were talking about it being a little hard to understand, but I hope it's kind of clear now that because the focus is on achieving particular tasks, you can sort of see how the first few rounds was about building up that infrastructure. And then once I was in a place to sort of build all of those conversion centers to get the workers up, like we were doubling up buildings, and we were kind of getting to where we needed to go really quickly. And part of that, one of the reasons why I like a setup like that, is it gives me the option like this, where we said is like, okay, so let's abandon our effort to get 800 tier 3 resources and 84 connected buildings. Like, you know, we're closer to it than we used to be, but 22 is still a lot of buildings to build. Let's just build 4 more turrets and we win. And I mean, obviously we did that at a time when it was taking us so long to fight the rebels that we actually had a second wave show up before we cleared the first one. And it's pretty clear there were some fights that we were not winning. So in this case here, we were in good shape. And sorry, I completely I missed a couple of questions here. So turrets do not need nothing in the game needs road network access. Workers will always move items to the places that they need to go. And there's some interesting parallels watching this while you play City Skylines. Yeah, this is the evil person City Skylines. So my apologies for missing those comments before. So this is the story of the Cadence Group. Its value is 520,944,128 credits. Game time 12 hours 28 minutes 58 seconds. Real time 16 hours 22 minutes 36 seconds. Standard game, normal difficulty, and a chemical enterprise. I think I owe a big thank you to Olaf T. Harry for recommending that. And if you want, you can actually get a breakdown in terms of what various things cost in the game. So I do actually have a couple of spreadsheets. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a second and grab one of these spreadsheets. Unfortunately, you will not be able to hear the lovely soundtrack, but okay. Every once in a while, YouTube will recommend a Simpsons clip. I'm sure I can't show the Simpsons clip, but you just need to hear the sound.
Oh, hey, there's something you don't see in a toilet every day. Anybody lose their glasses? Last chance. Woohoo! The sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side.
That's a right triangle, you idiot!
I like that bit. Does anybody know what movie they're quoting out of that? Where'd my Titan sheet go? Okay, here we go. This is always a... Oh, you couldn't hear it. Sorry, I thought people could hear. So there's basically from The Wizard of Oz, when the Scarecrow is given a diploma, he says, was it the square of the... Oh God, you know what? I'll look up the exact quote because I've never... Basically, he's trying to quote the Pythagorean theorem, but he's doing it for an isosceles triangle, not a right angle triangle. And so in The Wizard of Oz, they don't correct it. Like, clearly they know. Like, the joke is that the Scarecrow is not actually intelligent off of that. You know, but I'm going to assume most people who watch The Wizard of Oz are not saying it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm definitely going to keep the Pythagorean theorem in mind while I'm watching this lovely fantasy movie. So yeah, it says the sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side. And if you want, you can actually do the math on this. Like, see, it's wrong. I actually don't even know if that works as a formulation of the Pythagorean theorem, because obviously if you were to take the hypotenuse and then one of the others, that's not going to be equal to, or would it? I actually usually need like a pencil and pen to like just do the algebra. I'm pretty sure you can't work that out. Anyways, yeah, so he's basically doing the Pythagorean theorem. So what what makes that Simpson bit really clever is that they do the Wizard of Oz quote, which is charming, but they add the extra bit in you couldn't see the video obviously because I didn't put it up, but the context of it is that Homer finds a pair of glasses, you know, in the toilet, puts them on, says the line, and the camera just pans to a pair of like feet in one of the other stalls that yells out, "That's a right triangle, you idiot!" So I don't know. I thought it was fun. I'm actually just going to take a second here. Okay, it was actually slightly bugging me that I was wondering if like I was missing something clever in the formulation of the Pythagorean theorem, but yes, I do not believe you would also be able to say on a right-hand triangle the sum of the square roots of any two sides of a right triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side, because I just tried that, and if I wanted to get, say, what was it? Am I just writing that down wrong? Anyways, yeah, it feels sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square. Oh, no, hang on. So if you express it as square roots, that's fine. Sorry, I thought it was talking about the regular length. No, so that's fine. But in that case, if you wanted to get like b, you'd have to take, or square root of b, you'd have to take square root of the hypotenuse minus square root of a. See, I guess it still doesn't work there. Anyways, that shows you how bad I am at like, elementary school geometry. What I was really trying to do here was try and find a way of getting Excel up in a useful. Actually, you know what? I thought I had an Excel window. Yeah, I mean, the tricky thing about it is that like being able to do just like basic math is something that I've gotten worse at over time, because so much of that time is being spent on like more abstract problems, which is kind of a unique place to be in. Okay, you know what I think I'm going to do here? I'm just going to go to the full display. I'm hoping that nothing embarrassing shows up. And what I'm going to do here is I'll just duplicate the net worth sheet. Why can't I duplicate you? Oh, there we go. You know what? Net worth 2 will do. Okay, so obviously the arrangement here is a bit different, but oh, interesting. I actually already set this up so that I could have multiple runs. All right, well, never mind then. If I just hit enter, do I... Oh, really? Can I not just insert another... Okay, cool. Well, nuts. I was kind of hoping this would be a little bit easier, but yeah, so already here, like it looks like the values are the same, but so here's a fun fact about integration and differentiation. Integration, I believe, was discovered first, but for some reason we learn differentiation first. The exception to that is Tom Applestoll has a pretty good calculus textbook, which teaches it in the historical order. The one thing I kind of wish was different. Now, I was kind of lucky in that I went out of my way to learn this, but linear algebra, I think, is very, very helpful. I would argue that probably most of the stuff people want to do when they go to, or like when they get out of university, probably benefits from that stuff a little bit more. So I don't know, for my part, I kind of wish that I like, even just as a prerequisite at this point. I also think it's in, I think that particular subject, I could be wrong, but one of the things that was unpleasant about calculus when I had to take it for a while, like it was a weeder, particularly when I did Calc 3, which was not required, but I tried. It definitely feels like it's one of those courses that's intended to like weed out physics students. So like I remember doing a midterm where the class average was, I think, 21%. And then of course there's that like one student that got, I think, something like 98% on it, because of course there is. um, but yeah, like it's just one of these ones where when you do calculus, like again, I don't think splitting it up among those is bad. Like you learn, and usually it's differentiation in Calc 1 and then integration in Calc 2, and then you learn to do it with more than one variable in 3. But but yeah, like I don't know, like there's just a certain point, right, where like there's more to math than like just grinding out equations. Like obviously the fact that I spent so much time with triangles and like just I was like, okay, where's the pen and pencil? Because clearly I'm not doing it in my head well enough. I mean, in fairness, it's also a word problem, so I'm like trying to parse exactly what's being said, because I don't know, I kind of feel like the principle of charity is something we should still be holding on to. But yeah, like what was I trying to say? Like I felt like linear algebra, at least where I learned it. I think sometimes it gets called matrix algebra as well, depending on your university. But that was like one of the first courses where they're kind of focusing a bit more on sort of like proofs and like just basically being able to answer like, how do I know you didn't just make that up, sort of stuff. And I mean, again, if you want to do like machine learning or I mean, obviously in my statistics, econometrics stuff, it's very helpful to be able to work with matrices. There's just a lot of problems that can be stated in a very, like, it becomes easier to solve certain problems if you state them in those terms, right? It's also like, when you learn calculus, like I think one of the reasons why they teach you differentiation first is because that's useful. Okay, out of curiosity, is anybody here who's not had to do calculus in school? It could also just be that nobody wants to be outed for math stuff. Skip stats, but you took yeah. So I mean, like it feels like calculus is one of these things you have to take if you go to university. Not everybody's been to university, but I feel like there are a lot of people who are coming out of high school with calculus. I don't actually think that was a requirement for my high school. You had the option in high school between calculus and analysis. You chose analysis. So the analysis would have been the more advanced class, right? Like analysis is where you actually need to know the precise definition of a limit and like actually show that that's like not, that is really not grinding out calculations. That's amazing if you got to do analysis. If I'm thinking what you're doing, I'd love to. But yeah, the only reason why I just want to see whether or not we're on the same page. But like, if you analysis was how to push buttons on a calculator. Oh, okay, yeah. So there's a course. Like usually it's called real analysis, although there is also complex analysis. But it's a it's basically like it's where you start getting into the really rigorous math stuff, where you need to like show you usually take like existing theorems to prove certain things that are really important. But yeah, where I was going with the calculus thing is like I think the main reason why we learn differentiation in Calc 1 is most of the time they're gonna want to make you do some kind of optimization problem. So this isn't usually how they teach you, which is a shame, because I actually think the classes would make a lot more sense if they taught it this way. But it's like, you say, it's like, okay, so we've learned this thing called the derivative, right? And if you get taught in a certain way, hopefully if your teacher's good, they'll say, it's like, okay, so if you take the first derivative, this is the rate of change of a function. So, if the function is increasing, you've got your first derivative is going to be positive. And then if it's decreasing, then it's going to be that's going to be negative. And, sometimes you'll plot out the different functions and things like that. And then you can learn that you can take a derivative of a derivative. And of course say, oh, well, if it's a rate of change, it's a rate of change on the rate of change, and so on and so forth. Now, I know when I was taught calculus, like what they'll usually do is they'll say, it's like, yeah, so you set the derivative equal to 0, and then, that'll get you the number. So first of all, that's not true. You need to check the second order conditions. Because if you just rely on the derivative equals 0, you don't know if you found a minimum or a maximum. And it matters, right? If you're trying to maximize profit and you don't check your second order condition, your employer is not going to be happy with you if you minimized profit instead. But the other thing that's nice about it is, like, again, instead of it just being a bunch of equations that you're grinding out, like one of the things you can say, it's like, okay, so why does it have to equal 0? Well, if we're talking about rates of change, so like you can imagine like a parabola, right? So think of something, like one of those lines where it looks like a hill, right? So you start at 0 and then you sort of move up, kind of like if you threw a ball in the air. So you're tracking the ball as it goes through, and then it hits its peak, and then it goes down again, down to 0. And you can say, it's like, okay, well, how do we know we're at the top? You can say, well, you can look at the graph, right? There's nowhere higher to go. Okay, what would the derivative look like at that part? Well, if there's somewhere more to go, if you're increasing, right, it's a positive derivative. And you know that because the rate of change is increasing, then you move 1 unit forward, and there's going to be a higher place to go. You could say, okay, well, what if it's negative? It's like, well, if it's negative and you move 1 place forward, you're falling. So that can't be the maximum. It's like, okay, well, what if you move backwards? Well, if you move backwards because it's negative, you're moving up again. So in fact, the only place where you would know that you're at the top would be at 0. Or again, you could be at the bottom as well. And that would be if, it looks like a U. So then you would say, it's like, okay, so now how, we've sort of, this is why you set it to 0, right? Because logically, if you're saying that these are the rates of change, the only place in which you don't have a better spot to go to would be the place where it's, infinitesimally it's not changing. And then you would say, it's like, okay, so how do you know, how do you know you found a maximum or a minimum? And they say, oh, okay, well, if you take a look at that point and then you take the rate of change of the rate of change, that's going to tell you whether or not the numbers are going to start going up or down. Now, again, like mathematically, that's not helpful. Mathematically, you're still, like, what you're going to want to do is actually sort of demonstrate these certain properties. But I think there's some value in making this stuff be like something other than, okay, well, the magic system that we were told about, you just set things equal to 0 and make them work that way. And then of course, like you wind up in the weird cases where I think like if you take, like x cube or something like that. It's like, okay, well, this is actually neither a minimum or a maximum. Now what do you do with that, right? But like, I don't know. For me, I think like when you work in the world of math, like sometimes you've been steeped enough in it, or you know your problem well enough that you're able to sort of work through the mathy bits and all the symbols and the manipulations and such. But especially when you're learning stuff, it can actually be helpful to understand some of the reasoning, right? So again, if you want to work with that graph that you're looking at, it's like, okay, so what does it mean for the derivative to be 0? What does it mean for the second derivative to be 0? And at that point, hopefully what's happening is your students have a better understanding of like why this stuff has a certain sense to it, rather than it just being, oh God, I really hope they don't ask that question on the midterm because I have absolutely no idea what's going on. And again, I have no idea if anybody who had to endure a calculus class finds that a helpful way of thinking of derivatives. But I don't know. I generally think we could be explaining things in better ways to a lot of students, personally. Okay. I might want to just double check. There's a couple of weird values that I see here. So, so like this tier 3, 638, 959, 168. Okay. Credits probably isn't that weird, but 514-187-072. Okay. Influence 919-773-120. Okay. Okay. I'm assuming what's happening here is there's some weird function for pollution, which is different from minerals. And rebel building. Well, yeah. Rebel buildings, I suspect there's probably not one single value for rebel buildings. So, okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to sort these now. What I was hoping for on this spreadsheet was to actually wind up with with some points of comparison. So for instance, when I take a look at influence, I actually have two different unit values, right? For influence, one says 165,029, whereas the other says 165,011. Now, I don't know, right? Like, it could be that... So there actually could be a few things that are affecting this. Could be the number of rebel HQs that I've taken down. It could be that there is actually a decreasing value over time. Or it could just be that this sort of falls within sort of a rounding error. So I'm not going to make too big of a deal about that. Initial net worth is kind of interesting. I'm not sure how you affect that, to be honest. Things like isotopes and minerals, like no surprises. Actually, there is one weird bit here. Minerals seem to be worth a bit more on my playthrough. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to double check. So 1703, 638, 959, 168. So for one reason or another, minerals on this playthrough were worth 100. Now again, this is a tier 3 mineral, right? So 169 per unit. That's not huge. Pollution, again, there seems to be a little bit of a difference. A lot more pollution on my previous playthrough. But there's about 400 credit difference there. Now, yeah, this is a big indicator. right? The unit value for rebel buildings, it's like night and day between the two playthroughs. So this is not surprising to me to say, you know, the oh, this is interesting. Where's the other energy store? Oh, yeah. No, I see why, because we didn't have any energy storage on the previous playthrough. But yeah, so rebel buildings, I would expect here it's not appropriate to talk about unit values for rebel buildings. Or if I were to talk about it, I would need to have much higher numbers so that sort of things average out a little bit more. Fuel storage, for whatever reason, it was worth about 10 units more in the other playthrough. Again, I'm assuming some kind of rounding error. Now, time I would actually believe might have a changing value. So the longer you play, so if you think of it that like the longer you play, the more each individual unit of time is worth more. I can definitely believe that, because essentially what you want to do is if the player's really dragging their feet getting to a victory condition, you sort of want to put a fire under them as far as the ships are concerned. Although I guess the waves still get pretty tough, so maybe you don't, but this is one where I'd be willing to sort of accept that the values are different. But one of the reasons why an exercise like this is helpful, and I mean, usually what I would just do is I'd filter it onto an individual run. But if you want to, there's two ways that I use this. One is to, you can actually sort of talk about what things are valued in the world of Industries of Titan the most. So it would seem here that rebel buildings are very highly valued, although some ambiguity there. I would actually kind of say rebel buildings and time are maybe something that I wouldn't want to make too large of a statement on. I was surprised to find out employees are valued so much more, because once upon a time, employees used to be worth just slightly less than an artifact. But clearly, to me, employees are worth so much more because they can do stuff. Artifacts, as far as tradable resources, one of the most valuable items in Titan, and certainly we can see reasons why the council values them so high. Population would be the next highest unit value, followed by isotopes, influence. And it's kind of interesting to actually see that minerals are worth less than influence. But then again, those are tier 1 and tier 2 minerals. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like this stuff, right? It's the numbers of the game reinforcing some of the things that we know from the story. And I tend to find that stuff interesting, whether, no matter what game it is. So actually it looks like rebel buildings on its own, just eliminating the rebel threat is so if you were to try and maximize value, eliminating rebel buildings would be the most significant thing you could do. Hopefully that wasn't too tedious. Now this actually worked out pretty well as far as timing was concerned. So I am going to quit to the main menu. I am curious though. I haven't 100% finished this. I can host someone right away, but I have been finishing off a blog, and I'd be happy to do a trial run on the write-up if you were so inclined. Otherwise, I'd just be happy to host someone for tonight and call it there. The one thing I'm worried about is if I do read it, that might sort of scare people off, and then I'm not able to host the person who I want. So does anybody have any strong feelings one way or the other about whether or not we do a quick reading at the end, or should we just call it? Overall, I can talk about the playthrough. I was happy with how that turned out. I do like how it did turn into a little bit of a race with the rebel strengths near the end. The one thing I will say is that the rival system currently, it almost feels like the rivals don't exist. So I am looking forward to seeing how 2.0 works and whether or not my feelings of that change. But yeah, overall though, I think I'm actually I like the new victory conditions. There have been a couple of different changes in terms of the victory conditions that I noticed, but I think I'm kind of happy with how the game works on this. There don't seem to be any opinions about the writing, so what I will do here is I will host Outworld. Outworld is currently tagged as retro, so that probably means he's doing Mortal Kombat. Looks like he's doing some world record attempts. So let's see here. Yep. I also forgot. I wonder if I've been tagged as mature, because I totally didn't mean to do that, but I'll sort that out for the next one. But yeah, so I'm going to host Outworld tonight. Outworld is an Australian broadcaster. I think he's been a little sick. He was actually doing Mech Warrior 4 recently, which I really enjoyed. But I think he's back to some Mortal Kombat now. As far as my stuff is concerned, so I think next week we're going to be back to Phantom Brigade. Now, I'm not going to completely abandon Industries of Titan. What I am going to do, though, is I will uninstall my current version of Industries of Titan, and I will switch to the experimental branch. So when we go back to Industries of Titan, we'll actually have an early look at Rivals 2.0, which I'm rather looking forward to. Oh, interesting. Looks like Outworld's actually set up for follower or subscriber only chat. So just a caution there if that's something off-putting. I'll still host Outworld. But yeah, so we are going to continue on with Brace Yourself on Wednesdays. Please keep in mind, Brace Yourself has a big announcement for Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then as far as me for Friday, we've been doing a little bit of everything on Friday lately, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do Out There or Quake. I actually really liked doing Quake on Friday, and it looks like we can get through an episode sort of once, like one episode an evening. So, but I'll put that all on Twitter. Enjoy Outworld stream. Sorry for such an abrupt ending. We'll talk to you later.